Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into an incredibly practical workbook on something literally every single one of us deals with, but very few of us have actually mastered: managing stress. And look, we're not just going to sit here and talk about stress in the abstract, throwing around a bunch of wellness buzzwords. Instead, we're going to build your very own actionable stress toolbox. By the end of this, you'll have a highly personalized framework to systematically handle whatever life decides to throw your way. We are moving you from feeling perpetually overwhelmed to feeling totally in control.
But before we really get going, I want you to do a quick mental check-in. Just look at these 4 areas and ask yourself, which one is pulling the absolute most energy from you right now? Is it an insane workload that's following you home? Are you navigating some really draining relationships, trying to figure out a complex health issue, or maybe dealing with the constant, heavy pressure of finances? Pinpointing exactly where your stress is concentrated is the absolute first step in taking your power back. So acknowledge what's draining you and just keep that specific area in the back of your mind as we start building out your tools.
To tackle that overwhelm, think of this explainer as your blueprint. We're going to hit 6 key areas: self-awareness, mindset, time management, lifestyle habits, relaxation, and support. Together, these form a seriously sturdy defense against burnout. So let's jump right in.
All right, Facet 1, self-awareness. The source material calls this the required baseline for any real change, and honestly, that makes perfect sense, because you simply can't fix a problem that you're refusing to acknowledge.
You know how it is. We're so often just running on total autopilot. We move so fast, juggling a million different things, that we don't even realize we're stressed until we're completely, undeniably burned out. Well, that's exactly what self-awareness aims to fix. The secret here is to stop reacting automatically and start hitting pause. Throughout your day, try to check in with your body and mind, but do it without any self-judgment. Just ask yourself, hey, what's actually happening in my body right now?
To do that effectively, you've got to know what you're actually looking for. There are 3 main buckets of stress signals to keep an eye on. Physical signals might be that weird creeping tension in your shoulders, or maybe a rapid heartbeat right before a big meeting. Emotional signals often pop up as snapping at someone over something totally minor, or just a random wave of anxiety. And behavioral signals, that's stuff like ghosting your friends, skipping lunch, or suddenly procrastinating on a huge project. If you track these signals in a journal over time, you can start pinpointing your specific situational triggers. And once you know your triggers, you can actually prepare for them before they hit, rather than just doing damage control after the fact.
Moving right along to Facet 2, mindset and perspective. This is all about how we actively rewire our brains to shape our response to that stress once it inevitably shows up.
This is a brilliant example of cognitive reframing. We all do this, right? We fall into the catastrophic spiral, telling ourselves, I am literally never going to get this done. And boom, your brain panics, your stress is amplified, and the problem suddenly feels like a giant, unmovable boulder. But if you use solution-focused reframing and tell yourself, okay, I can just break this task into smaller steps, you actually start chipping away at that boulder. You're not ignoring the problem, you're definitely not pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows, you're just shifting your focus from the massive scale of the issue down to a manageable, realistic first step.
Which brings us to Facet 3, time management. Because let's be real, a lot of the time, stress isn't just in your head, it's the direct, logical result of having way too much to do and not enough time to do it.
Enter the Eisenhower matrix. Seriously, this thing is a game changer for prioritization. It completely separates what actually requires your immediate attention from all the background noise. If something is urgent and important, you do it first, period. If it's important but not urgent, like working out or long-term career planning, you schedule it and you protect that time. If it's urgent but not important, you delegate it whenever you can. And if it's neither, eliminate it completely. Say goodbye to that 11 p.m. doom scrolling habit. This matrix basically gives you permission to drop the busy work and focus entirely on what aligns with your actual goals.
Next up is Facet 4, healthy lifestyle habits. Let's talk about fueling the machine and building the physical side of your resilience. Look, we all know we're supposed to eat right and exercise, but the mindset shift here is what's really important. Try not to view sleep and diet as boring chores. Recognize them as the daily armor that literally helps your body and mind recover from life's hits. We're talking proper hydration, a cool, dark room for quality sleep, short movement breaks to get those endorphins going, and maybe some meditation to build up your emotional resilience. And sorry to break it to you, but chugging a 4th cup of coffee is absolutely not a substitute for actual sleep. These habits aren't just trendy wellness concepts, they're the literal fuel your nervous system relies on to handle whatever stress you identified at the start of this explainer.
That flows perfectly into Facet 5, relaxation and recovery. This is all about actively shifting your body out of that biological fight or flight response and safely back into rest and digest mode. The source material heavily highlights breathing techniques because they are incredibly fast ways to signal safety to your nervous system. Let's actually do a quick round of box breathing right now. Honestly, try this with me. Ready? Inhale slowly. 2, 3, 4. Now hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale completely. 2, 3, 4. And hold empty. 2, 3, 4. Doing just 3 or 4 rounds of that simple technique can completely reset your physiology, even right in the middle of a chaotic day. It's basically an instant override switch for panic. And finally, we hit facet 6, support and connection, your safety net. Because managing stress should never be a completely solo mission. You need a structure holding you up.
The key here is knowing exactly who is in your corner before you actually need to call them. Imagine your support system like 3 concentric circles. Your inner circle, that's your family and your closest trusted friends, they give you that deep emotional validation. Your middle circle, like colleagues and mentors, they provide practical day-to-day help and fresh perspective. And your outer circle offers specialized professional guidance from folks like coaches or therapists when things just get too complex. Reaching out isn't weak, it's a highly strategic, smart use of your resources.
So, pull all these threads together, and what do you get? By synthesizing deep self-awareness, an upgraded mindset, super strict boundaries on your time, active daily self-care, and a mapped-out support network, you have officially assembled your very own personalized stress toolbox. You are now equipped to respond thoughtfully and deliberately to challenges, rather than just reacting blindly and letting life just happen to you.
I'm going to leave you with a quick challenge for your personal action plan. Don't try to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. That's just going to cause you more stress. Pick just one single tool from the box we built today and put it into practice. Maybe you try that box breathing before your next Zoom call, or maybe you map out the Eisenhower matrix for your morning emails. Look, stress is an inevitable part of being alive, for sure, but suffering through it, that's completely optional. So if you had to choose between being controlled by your circumstances or systematically taking back your power, which one will you choose right now? Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with me.